Hello and welcome to Authentic Creative Confidence, 3 Keys to Impostor Syndrome. My name is Kian Marcelo Junio. I am a certified health coach with Mahal Healing Arts. I am here today to share a little bit about imposter syndrome, what exactly lies at the root of it, the 3 core wounds that most people experience with imposter syndrome, and then the 3 key foundations that you can develop within yourself to help move past this uncomfortable feeling. And then at the end, I will have an invitation to participate in a new program that I'm creating, if this feels like the right thing for you. So just want to let you know what's ahead. If you'd like, you can follow along with the slideshow. There's a QR code here that you can scan with your phone, and that will lead you directly to the slideshow file. All right. So let's get going. Again, my name is Kiam. My pronouns are they and them. I am a queer, non-binary Filipinx immigrant, U.S. Navy veteran, holistic healer, multi-passionate artist, and my mission is to help creative leaders and multi-passionate professionals come home to their body, come home to your body, partner with your mind, and defeat imposter syndrome so that you can create the changes in the world that you need to and share your gifts with authentic self-confidence. You can find me at my website at mahalhealingarts.com and on Instagram at IamKiam. So, that out of the way, why am I doing, what is this about? Like, why am I so interested in imposter syndrome? Well, so as I mentioned, all of these things that I've done in my life, throughout my life, I've accomplished quite a lot of things. Looking back at it, I've been in shows, I've been published, I created a cookbook, I've performed on stages and theaters and galleries and many different spaces. My artwork has been written about in history books. Literally, I'm in art history. And I even have my face on a mural in Chicago, in Boys Town. Honored by this opportunity to be painted and to be so public. And throughout all of this, right, all of these accomplishments, in addition to that, I'm also a registered yoga teacher, licensed massage therapist, certified health coach, trained in many, many different things. And still, to this day, I feel as if I am... I still feel like I'm too much, or I'm not enough, or that I don't belong, right? And these are really the key core, some really core deep wounds that I know that I'm carrying. And so when I looked at myself, I tried to understand, like, what is this about? And if I'm feeling this way, then I'm sure other people are also feeling this way. So this self-inquiry kind of led me to learning about imposter syndrome. Or in clinical research, it's called Impostor Phenomena. And the more that I dove deep into what exactly this is, because once I heard that term, I was like, oh, this term like really applies to this feeling that I feel. And when I looked into it, I realized that it has been researched quite a bit. There's a lot of clinical research on it, and a lot of people feel this way. So the research here defines imposter syndrome or imposter phenomena as intense feelings of intellectual or professional fraudulence reported by, and here's a key, high achieving individuals despite verifiable achievements. So that in itself, that sentence right there, like, really hits me. I'm like, oh, wow. I have all of these accomplishments, these achievements, and yet I still feel this way. So, what does imposter syndrome look and feel like? It's going to be different for every person, but these are kind of a list of different things that you might feel in your relationship to imposter syndrome. There's often persistent self-doubt, low self-esteem, fear of being exposed, right? Performance anxiety, attributing your success to luck or receiving help from others, like saying like, oh, it wasn't me, that wasn't really, I didn't really do that, like this and this person deserves all the credit, right? Like really putting yourself down, and seeing your setbacks as proof of your inadequacy. Perfectionism, pessimism, and procrastination, right? So how many of us experience one of these things on a daily basis, right? So all of these things are ways that you might feel imposter syndrome happening for you. Now, what does imposter syndrome sound like? So I've shared my experience with imposter syndrome. Let's hear what some other people have to say. So, Maya Angelou here says, I have written 11 books, but each time I think, uh-oh, they're going to find out now. I've run a game on everybody, and they're going to find me out. Sound familiar? One of the most brilliant minds of history, Albert Einstein here, says that the exaggerated esteem in which my life work is held makes me very ill at ease. I feel compelled to think of myself as an involuntary swindler. John Steinbeck doesn't feel like a writer most of the time, or sometimes. Sheryl Sandberg, the chief operating officer of Facebook, still experiences imposter syndrome. Lady Gaga still feels like that loser in high school. Let's see, who else? Michelle Obama! Oh my god, Michelle Obama still feels imposter syndrome. Dr. Margaret Chan, who was the Director General of the World Health Organization, still feels like an imposter sometimes. Emma Watson, Mike Myers, actors. I mean, actors are kind of like professional imposters if you think about it. And let's see, Jodie Foster still feels like, decades later, still feels like that people are gonna come to her house and take that Oscar back and say that it actually belongs to Meryl Streep. And then Meryl Streep herself also feels like an imposter. So, I mean, that just goes to show you how prevalent this feeling is and how it can really hit anybody at especially if you're a high achieving individual. So why is this so bad? Why is it so harmful, or what's the effects of it, right? It affects primarily people's job performance, decreasing your job satisfaction. You might be quicker to burn out, get tired of work, chronic low or mid-level stress. And imposter syndrome or imposter phenomena is also comorbid, meaning it comes along or is often accompanied by depression, anxiety, and somatic symptoms like pain in the body aches, headaches, stomach aches. And then that, of course, leads to a decreased quality of life, right? You're unable to really be in the present moment with people, and then even when you're there with them, it's sometimes unsatisfying to be in social interactions where, especially when people are trying to compliment you, and then you try to minimize them, and then it's awkward. So it's... yeah, like imposter syndrome just affects so many parts of our lives, right? So who is affected by imposter syndrome? In the research, when this term was coined back in the late 70s, early 80s, it applied primarily to women in higher levels of leadership in companies, especially places where women have not been have not held these roles in the past, right? So it's also prevalent in universities, institutions of higher learning. This is where most of the research on imposter syndrome is being done, is studying students. It's also really prevalent, especially within underserved, underprivileged, underrepresented, underestimated communities, such as African Americans, Asian Americans, Latino, Latinx, American students, Native American students, people who have been marginalized in society, and then especially for the ones who have transcended or have moved past a lot of these social limitations and then find themselves in positions of leadership amongst people who might be more who have generally held the power, right? If you're in these new spaces where you haven't been or people like you have not been, then you might feel like you don't belong there, right? So that's imposter syndrome. That's kind of the world and how this feeling really affects all the different parts of our lives, and especially at work, or at least that's where it's been most researched, right? So let's take a look at the surrounding, what should we say, the foundations of what exactly is happening with imposter syndrome in the body, in the mind, that's causing this uncomfortable feeling. So I've identified through my research 3 core wounds that lie at the root of imposter syndrome, and they are, the first one is this feeling of I am too much. I'm too much. I've got too many things going on. I have so many ideas. I have so many things that I have to do. So many people that I have to respond to. I have all these thoughts about the past and the future. Rah, 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 right? Like, this is often how our minds work, especially if you're a creative person. And this can feel like having a really overloaded mental space. You have your emotions, you have your thoughts, you have the past, you have the future, all up in there, mixed in a bag, and you never really know which thought is going to come out at any given time, right? So that is often at the root of imposter syndrome, one of the things that are at the root. Another thing is the feeling of I'm not enough. And what I've realized that this really ties with or relates to is this being out of sync with the present moment, where your mind is elsewhere and you're not really in your body, right? And the body is kind of in the present moment, but then the mind is not, right? So it's this disconnect, right? I think the word dissociation is a little too strong for this, but something like that. Maybe like just a little mild version of dissociation, like a chronic low level of dissociation happening at all times, right? And this causes this feeling because your mind is elsewhere, wanting to be in the future, wanting to be not in the now. This causes this feeling of I am not enough, or this feeling of I am not enough then causes those. It's a cycle, basically, right? It's you think, and then you feel, and then you think, and then you feel, and it creates this loop. And then the third core wound here is I don't belong. And this really is, if we kind of take a step back from the emotion of it and really understand what's happening when we feel like we don't belong. Generally, we're probably missing the type of support that we need at that given time, right? And because you don't have that support, then you're looking for it and you feel like you're missing it, and you feel like you don't belong in that space that you are in. All right. So these are the 3 core wounds that really hold up imposter syndrome. And you'll notice one is more about the body, one is more about the mind, and then the other is more about relationships with other people. So what are the 3 key foundations? These are going to be kind of the salve, or I guess the medicine for these 3 core wounds. So this is how we're going to treat the wounds. So with this feeling of I'm too much, having so many thoughts, so many feelings going on, your mind being everywhere, the medicine for this is really mindful attention. And this means being able to be present in the moment, exactly in the now, right? Focus in the now. And then this also relates to developing more productive mental models. This means the way that we arrange our thoughts. It's like installing a filing system within our brains where then we can see, okay, well, this thought is important, let me put it here. This thought is not so important, let me put that over there. This thought is about the past, this thought is about the future. So being able to more quickly identify your thoughts and to take a step back and see them for what they are and be able to place them where they need to go. And that requires really some dedication to developing these more productive mental models for yourself. Now, for the feeling of I'm not enough, right? The medicine for this one is developing embodied awareness, meaning being really aware of your body and being present in your body, feeling how you breathe, feeling how you stand, feeling how you take up space, how you hold yourself, how you appear in the world, how you sit, how you talk, right? Like having a conscious awareness of these aspects of yourself and being really, it's really all about being at home in your body and feeling like you can be powerful from that point, from that vantage point, right? So what's required then to really develop this embodied awareness, I believe, is one, we have to be able to face our ego and our inner critic. So all of these voices in our mind that kind of tries to pull at you and to put you down, right? We all have them. When we are able to face these voices within us, then we can really begin to chip away at that feeling of I'm not enough. And again, the body as a safe place to be, right? The body as not just a safe space, but a refuge. And I don't want to, I guess, home can sometimes have some different connotations for people, but the word refuge, this place that you can really return to at any given time, where you feel at peace, where you feel whole, right? Like the body, developing a relationship with the body as a place that can be a refuge for you will help to create this embodied awareness and again chip away at that feeling of I'm not enough. Now, for the feeling of I don't belong, or the thought of I don't belong, what the medicine is for this one is personal accountability. So effective goal setting, meaning being aware of what you're working towards and how you are creating things in the world, right? And then, of course, belonging, then a medicine for that would then be getting some one-on-one support, group support, feeling like even if you feel like you don't belong, maybe at work, then finding spaces where you do belong, where you do feel like at home, where you do feel like you're valued and seen as precious and seen for the fullness of who you are. So creating or finding those spaces, even now, even in the pandemic, really developing those friendships that you have and really strengthening them, right? Your support systems. That's how we can then chip away at this feeling of I don't belong. One of the aspects here is your own internal work, and then one is leaning into finding support from outside of you. All right, so that then creates personal accountability, because then you become accountable to yourself and then you also become accountable to others. All right, so those are the three key foundations, right, that then treat the three core wounds of I'm too much, I'm not enough, and I don't belong. So that's really the end of this particular part of the presentation. And if you feel like, actually, here, let's go to the checklist here. So so just as a review, we have mindful attention, developing mindful attention, developing, having that present moment focus, creating more productive mental models for yourself, embodied awareness, being in touch with your body, being in your body and operating from your body, facing your ego and the inner critic, and finding safety and refuge within your body, and then developing personal accountability through effective goal setting and one-on-one and group support. So that's really it. That's what that's what lies at the root of imposter syndrome, and these are the things that can really move that out of your life. So if you feel like you have received enough information and you know how to do these things and you have resources to go to, feel free you can stop this video and go about your day. And I wish you well, and and see you on the flip side. And however, if you are looking for additional support, if you feel like this is a lot of things and you would like some personal assistance to move through these things in your life, then I invite you to Unmasking the Imposter 5 Steps to Authentic Self-Trust. This is an 8-week transformational coaching program that I have recently put together. So Unmasking the Imposter is an 8-week hybrid coaching program, and this means that it takes the best things about going through an online course and the best things about group coaching and one-on-one coaching all put together into one pretty package. This coaching program includes a mindfulness-based online course with videos, meditations, journaling prompts, instruction in breath work, and a little bit of movement. We also have 6 weekly group coaching sessions and then 3 one-on-one sessions. And you'll also receive access to a private online community and a sharing gallery. And all of this work for 8 weeks really only requires about 3 hours of your time, an hour observing the content, an hour maybe doing some of the field work, the journal assignments, the meditations, and things like that, and then the weekly either group coaching or one-on-one coaching. And the next cohort is beginning very soon on May 1st. So here is a layout, schedule of how the weeks unfold with Unmasking the Imposter. Week 1, we go over mindful attention. Week 2, we talk about the automatic nature of the brain. Week 3 is a one-on-one session. Week 4 is about resisting and accepting our thoughts. Week 5, all about evolutionary neuroscience, basically how your brain works, all the different parts of the brain. A really fun chapter. Week 6 is about the ego and the inner critic. Week 7, developing self-compassion. We also have another one-on-one session there. Week 8, we all come together at the closing and share a little bit about what we've been working on in the past 8 weeks. And then there's going to be a 1-month follow-up one-on-one session after that. So that is the outline of Unmasking the Imposter, 5 Steps to Authentic Self-Trust. If you are curious about this program, if you have any questions, and if you want to learn more and see if this is the right fit for you, I invite you to book a 10-minute chat. You can use this QR code here or visit my website there with the link to schedule your 10 to 15 minute debrief. Where we can check in and see if this is the right thing for you at this time. And I'm only accepting about five new clients a month, so space is limited, and I can't wait to hear from you, or I look forward to hearing from you, I should say. So that is it. That's my presentation today. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for sharing your time, your presence, and your attention. I will talk to you soon. Have a lovely day.